Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Joe Cespedes, and today I'm thrilled to welcome the unstoppable Vania Acevedo. Originally from Honduras and fluent in Spanish, Vania's journey is as impressive as it is inspiring. She made her move into real estate full-time in October 2021, and in just a short time, she's achieved phenomenal milestones. Vania was recognized as a top agent and hit cap in only 5 months in 2023 and 2024. She's been celebrated for most closings as part of her team, being the top 5th team agent within her brokerage. Her adventurous spirit and bold leap from a successful engineering career to real estate have set her apart as a fearless leader who truly embodies the phrase, "Life is what you make it." Join us as we dive into Vania's journey, her tips for success, and how her passion for exploration and trying new things has created unforgettable experiences and results for her clients. Let's get started with Vania Acevedo.
Gracias, Joe.
Yes, big welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
No, the pleasure's all ours. We love it, Vania.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as a friend and someone that gets to work with you often, I'm very thrilled to do this with you.
Yeah, thank you
So,
so much.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd love to get started just with hearing a little bit about your journey and your humble beginnings and kind of go from there.
Awesome. So, let's start from when I decided to move to this country and make my life a little different. So, as you mentioned in the introduction, I am from Honduras, and back there, I got my degree as a civil engineer. I was working full time, but at some point in my life, I was feeling stuck, and I want to keep progressing. So one of my friends, I remember, he told me, "You should move to the United States," and I was like, "No, why I'm gonna do this having 20-something years at this point?"
That's a big change.
Yeah, it's to start from scratch again. So anyway, I thought about that decision. I made the decision, and then in 2016, I came as a tourist to see if I was going to like it, the environment, and life is so different. So I moved here, then I went back to my country, and I applied for another type of visa to come here. So 2017, I moved back to United States as a student.
Okay.
And the main goal was just to learn English. I knew a little bit, but it's not the same thing. So I wanted to be able to speak with somebody, whatever country I was. I wanted to be able to speak with people in English, right? Because it's the universal language. And I just went full time to school. I was trying to catch up and be involved with the culture and all that. And so a few years later, after studying, I was thinking like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? I realized many things, like for example, going back to university was not something that I wanted to do again. So one of my friends back in 2019, she was like asking me, "So tell me, what are you gonna do with your life?" And that question hit me a lot because I didn't have a plan. Like the supposed plan that I had, I realized that was not very attainable in that time, so I had to switch.
And that was engineering?
Yeah. So my plan was learn English, go back to Honduras, but in that way I got married.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, everything changed from there, and my original plan had to change. So that question, it kept in my mind for a long time, and I had to do something else. So my answer for her was very, I don't know. And she started like giving me advice, like, what if you do this? What if you do that? So anyway, just going back to the point, she asked me, "Have you thinking on doing real estate?" And I was like, wait a minute, what is that?
Was your friend a realtor?
Yes, my
Okay.
friend back in the time, She's still a realtor, but back in that time she was more active in the business. And yeah, she just opened that light. She just opened that kind of new beginning for me back in the day. Anyway, I took advantage of her advice and I started taking the course and I finally passed the test. So again, at that point was like, okay, I passed the test, now what? So that's how I kind of started being in real estate.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask how you met your husband?
Yes, this is so fun and a cute story. And so when I was a student, I was just going to school and then doing basically nothing. So I spent like 2 to 3 hours every day at the gym, and I met him right there. So he was working at the gym. He was an employee at the gym.
Okay, sure.
And I don't know.
Cute,
but the chemical started at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful chemistry there.
Yeah.
So you guys he was working there, you spent a couple hours at the gym all the time, and you just kind of started chatting, and it kind of evolved from there.
Yes. We were checking each other.
How fun. Very cool. Yeah, I've met your husband. He's a very nice guy.
Oh, yeah. He's very patient with me.
Yeah. So were you practicing English in Honduras? Were you taking like an English course, or were you just doing it on your own, or how did you learn English over there?
So as going back to high school, I had classes. In university, I had to take classes as well.
Okay.
So I knew a little bit. It's just different because I couldn't practice it, and the way how they teach you there is very simple. Right?
Sure.
So it's not very like being in the real world and being able to have to communicate. So
yeah, that's impressive for you going from that into real estate school and absorbing all that information and. I hear it's a pretty tough test.
New world.
Yeah, sure.
New lingo, new everything that I had to catch up with all those things. Definitely was challenging in that part for me because I just knew English, and then I had to start knowing and learning another type of English.
Sure, yeah, like in the business world.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's impressive, Vania.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. How did you get started in real estate? I know you mentioned that your friend gave you some advice, asking you what you're going to do in the future, and she was a realtor. So what was the ultimate decision for you just to jump into real estate?
I definitely, I think the main point in that time was having more freedom at some point, and I was not seeing myself just being employed my whole life. So that hit me hard, and I started thinking, dang, I have a lot of opportunities in this country. I need to take advantage of this. And this is something that not many people coming to this country can see. But thanks God, I was able to see those opportunities and take advantage of those.
Okay, wonderful. How did you get started in real estate? Did you start off on your own, or did you join a team?
Yeah, good question. When I passed my test with the license, I had no idea what was the next step. I had no idea.
So you have your license and you're like, now what?
Yes.
Sure.
That was like, the first person that I called actually when I passed the test was my friend, to let her know, hey, I passed the test. And I was happy. And she was like so happy for me to have accomplished that goal. And then she was like, have you thinking in this? Have you thinking in that? So to be very honest, she is an angel in my life that has been there for me in every step in my life since I came to this country.
Wow.
So again, I didn't know what was the next step. I didn't know what was a brokerage. I didn't know many things. And she started guiding me through that point. And actually, she was asking me those questions again, like, okay, have you been thinking on joining a team or going solo? And I was like, I don't know, what is the difference?
Sure, yeah. What a great friend.
Yeah.
And that is more of like an angel.
Yes.
Someone that's been in your life through all these big deciding factors. Mm-hmm. You hit a crossroad, you're licensed, or you're new to the country, and you have all these questions, all this excitement of how to proceed and what to do. And it sounds like she's been there for you the whole time. She's been.
Wow,
that's impressive.
So at that point, she started guiding me, and, she had connections. So she started calling different teams.
Okay.
And at the end, I joined one of the teams that answered that phone call.
So you started off joining a team from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Right from the beginning. I started, back in that time, I had a full-time job, so I had to wake up at 3:30 a.m.
Wow.
to go to work. I was finishing like around 11:30 a.m. And from 11:30 to probably 7, sometimes 9 p.m., I was going to do real estate activities.
Wow, that's impressive. You're a hustler. I know that about you. Yeah, and you wouldn't be where you're at if it wasn't for your work ethic. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. How is it working with the team?
It is fun. I see the benefit being part of a team because you have a lot of support, you have a lot of guidance, especially when we start in this business. We think that we know everything just because we passed the test.
Sure. Sure.
And the reality is so different, Joe. It's like, okay, now how can I get clients? How can I make money from that book that I studied?
Yeah.
So joining a team has been very beneficial because I have guidance. I had experience from my mentors, and they've been with me since the beginning. So, and also you have you heard stories from the other team members, from their clients, and I try to learn from those experiences to don't make mistakes with my clients. Try to reduce
the learning curve.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, of course. That makes a lot of sense. Especially when you have a team that you have. I know your team very well and all the players in it. And they encourage you, they applaud you. You guys have a lot of fun. You work really hard, but you have a tight schedule. You guys are doing a lot of things different, and I think that has a lot to do with your success.
Yeah. We definitely have a culture in our team that we like and we like to protect. And we like to, one of our saying is, you work hard, you play hard.
I know that about you guys. Absolutely. You did a cold plunge recently, right? Everyone came out shaking, yes. And yeah, you guys do some fun stuff. So in terms of getting clients, do you like to cold call? Do you door knock? What's your lead strategy? What makes you so successful?
So I try to have different pillars of my business where I can base my business on, right? For example, I have my top 50, I have my SOI, I do go door knocking, and also if I don't go door knocking on the specific day because weather or any other reason, I go to talk to people at the stores.
Oh wow, okay.
And I have had a few of transactions coming from those talks in the stores. So definitely it's just like different ways to bring clients and to have clients, but the activity has to be there. Like we have to be prospecting all the time, because if we don't prospect with our SOI, with our top 50, and people in general, well, people don't know what we do, right?
Of course.
So it is a mix of different pillars, but in each pillar you need to be prospecting to have those clients.
Because in terms of your family, they're in Honduras, correct?
Yeah,
they're not here, so it's starting from scratch.
Yeah, so here I have my husband's family, my family, let's say mom, dad, and brothers. They are back in Honduras.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Like when you first get started, that's probably a big aspect of getting business is talking to your family members and cousins and aunts and uncles. But if they're in a different country, I could see how that'd be a little bit more challenging.
Uncle friends.
Sure. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So that part for me at the beginning it wasn't hard, but in my mind I was very afraid to talk to people, especially people that I don't know. When I know someone, I'm different, but I'm not the type of person that I will go to talk to someone that I really don't know. So I'm very shy in that part. And being in this business has been helping me to try to put that at the side and think you need to make it, you need to talk, not just because thinking in the transaction, is because at the end of the day, you don't know if that talk will help someone in their goals.
Yeah, we're in a relationship type business, and you're forced to put yourself out there and make connections and tell people what you do.
Yeah.
And get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I had a client last year. I was prospecting in one of the stores, and we receive a lot of no's, and I'm not interested in those things, so I'm not soliciting and whatever. But this guy, he took the time to talk to me. We started the process, and before going to the point like setting up the appointment with the lender, the loan officer, he told me why it was important for him to have that property. And the main reason for him was to be able to bring his family from another country to live with him here. So that was my main motivation. And each client is so different because, like we were saying, our duty is to help people, right? But each person will have different goals.
Sure.
And my major motivation is just help the client to reach their goals, whatever it is. Whatever the reason is to have that property, is help the client to reach their goals.
And it's a different motivation for each person. I know it's an individualized need, but we truly are changing people's lives.
Yes, definitely.
Especially someone from a different country with their family in that other country, and they're going through all the paces and the struggles to get their family here and to live the American dream, having their own home and the white picket fence, as they say.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. Good. What advice would you give yourself or a new agent just starting off?
I will say do the activities that you're supposed to be doing, and don't think that this business is okay. I am my own boss. I have freedom. Yes, we do have freedom, right? But don't come with the idea like I have freedom, I will work whatever or whenever I want to do it. Because at the end of the day, yes, being very realistic in everything. If we don't have clients, if we don't do the activities, well, no one is living for free, right? In this world.
Yeah, you're 100% commission. So
it will be awesome to have free stuff or to live for free, but that idea or that mindset and starting like, okay, I will do it because I don't want to have a boss, or I will work just these few days in the day, it will not get you to succeed. We always want to succeed, right? But succeed is not gonna be coming from zero activities. It will come from mindset. It will come for the people that you are surrounded by, And I think it will be very beneficial starting on a team. Taking advantage, like I say, of other agent experiences and training and all the activities the team has is very helpful when we are beginners.
I could see that, because if you're on your own, you're not really quite sure where to start or what activities to do, or you might not have the schedule dialed in. So you guys door knock on Thursdays, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and if it's like snowing or raining or whatever, I guess one of my main question is, if you're not feeling it and you're not in the mood to door knock or make those phone calls, so I know you personally, you just power through it. What do you think is different from you and other people that don't force themselves to do it? Where does that come from?
From mindset, I think we have the ability to control our mind, and for more noise that is out there, if you believe that activity will return you something, do it.
So just being consistent.
It's being consistent.
No matter what's going on out there, block out the noise and just stay focused and just stick to the plan.
And believe, because if you don't believe, why are you going to be doing that?
Yeah.
So
sure.
believe in yourself, believe in that time doing the activity will bring you something.
Beautiful. Okay. What advice would you give someone interested in getting into real estate investing? Because that's a whole different animal. Not so much as a real estate person, but as an investor.
As an investor, well, this is totally another game. Because investors, the main reason for them is just to have a big return on that, right?
Sure, yeah.
Whatever it is, passive income or cash flow, there are different ways to invest.
Whether it be flipping or rental property, right? Buy and hold, or fix and flip, as you guys call it.
Yes, or wholesaling. So there are different strategies. I will suggest do your best research in which one of those strategies do you want to invest your time, and see the difference between all of those.
Okay.
So if you pick one, just do your research, because it's different being an investor for fix and flips and being an investor for rental properties.
Sure.
Fix and flips, it will give you cash flow, and rental properties, it will help you to create your wealth in long term. So are very different. One is active income, the other one is passive income, right? But what if your idea is not going to align with the activity that you want to invest? So just make your internal research and what do you want to do, what is your main goal, and then just contact me to help you.
I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think about people trying to time the market? So I know in certain, it's constantly changing, right? Our business, our industry is constantly changing. I know a lot of people read the news and they try to time the market. What would be your advice on people trying to do that, to time the market, to either invest in a rental property or buy a home for themselves?
Like you say, no one can time the market. No one, even loan officers, will know what's going to happen with the market, right? So there is a lot of noise, and the news bring a lot of fake news.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. And make people believe that, oh, this is going to happen. We really don't know. But we can really know is talking about what has happened in the past, right? We can see data, and that data can help us to understand how possibly the market could act in the near future, all right? For all the people that sometimes are thinking, I will wait until the interest rate drops, my bigger advice would be don't wait, because they tend to compare, like for example right now, they tend to compare interest rates that are around 6.5% to interest rate 3 years ago. It was totally different. The situation it was different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we had COVID and rates were it was crazy back then, right? Rates were 2.5 to 3.5%. There was multiple offers, highest and best. A lot of families competing for the same home, driving that price really high.
So what happened back there? The power of negotiation was little to compare to this time. Right now, power of negotiation, even though interest rates are sometimes the double, but we have more power to negotiate towards our, for example, buyer.
So sellers are more willing to help.
Sellers are more willing to help right now. It's still possible to get that contribution coming from the seller to help the buyer. And vice versa, when sellers sometimes are thinking on way to sell a property, it is the same situation. It's just putting yourself, in that spot and then switching that spot, because the seller most of the times wants to sell for what? To buy another property, right? So you are selling in that time. The best thing is just interview many agents and see what can provide you it could represent you in the best way. And remember, you're gonna be in the other side as a buyer. So yes, you will have to negotiate as well. So at the end, it's just like having a win-win for both sides of the transactions.
Okay, sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, don't wait.
So in terms of people wanting to wait, it's probably a very difficult conversation of explaining to them, and there's 1,000 reasons why not to wait. What are people hesitant about that? Do you mostly have to remind them about their why, of why they want to buy that house, and kind of stick to those facts instead of waiting to time the market?
Yeah, just circling back to their motivation. What is their main motivation? Why is so important for you to do this, right? And the other thing that helps a lot is just presenting data. Like, for example, I have had clients that wants to wait because, again, they compare interest rate right now with 3 years ago.
Sure.
But the data that we show them to see, this is what could happen if you wait. You're going to be competing with more offers. Probably you're going to be overpaying that property. So you're not going to see that right away equity in your real estate, right? So presenting data and showing them, not with the intention to make that transaction happen for you, is with the intention to help your client to realize if they wait or if they don't wait, right? It's just like the main thing is to educate them to understand the market. And remember, everything that we do is because we want to help them. We put the client in first place. It's not our decision. At the end, it's their decision. But we do everything for help the client to understand that, because we want to help them to reach their goals.
I love that. Sometimes you have to push them along and remind them of why they wanted to buy the house to begin with. Yeah, because I'm on the closing side, as you know, and sometimes with the clients, I'll let them know, hey, now is a wonderful time to purchase a home. And sometimes they mention, the payment or the interest rate, and I'll just tell them from my personal experience, people in the past during COVID, for example, that had the lower rates, they're competing with a lot of different families, and it's just a completely different market now, to where they can get sometimes instant equity, right? If you find the right property, seller concessions, sellers are more willing to pay a home warranty, they're more willing to fix repairs on the property. I remember a couple years ago, people were waiving appraisals and inspections and overpaying quite a bit for the homes, compared to this market that we're currently in, where the sellers are more willing to help, and then you could always refinance down the road whenever it makes sense in your situation.
Yeah.
Because statistically speaking, rates have been about 6 to 7.5%. If you look back on a chart for many, many years, it was just very unusual during the COVID and the pandemic that we had to lower those interest rates to where they were. Yeah, it's just...
I have met people, they're knocking,
Sure.
that their interest rate when they bought the property was 18%, 12%.
Oh, yeah, that's back in the day.
And that was normal.
Yeah, in late 70s.
Yeah, so when we have those conversations, they say, now people just have 6%, that's nothing.
Yeah, I get into it with the old timers sometimes about that. It's comical. That's why I'm grinning. Because I go, okay, I understand you had, an 18, 19% interest rate, but how much did you pay for your house? And the average answer is like $30,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
So, but also I understand they didn't make as much money back then either. So,
That's it.
yeah, things have definitely changed, but that's why it's so important to be with a professional realtor like yourself that knows all the statistics and has the client's best interest in mind to help them get to that goal. Yeah.
It is important to be educated in this, not just believing in what the news say or what the neighbor or the cousin, the brother say. If someone has questions, just ask to a realtor, ask to a loan officer, right? Because we are the specialist in this.
Exactly. So that's the best place to start, correct? Reach out to someone like yourself, have that conversation, kind of have a meeting, see what's important to them, where they would like to live and what their budget is, and then get them introduced to a loan officer that you trust, and then get them pre-approved before you show them homes, correct?
Correct. Some people like to start backwards, starting looking at the property.
Yeah.
And because they are not ready when a pre-qualification letter, the property has gone. So very important just to have those meetings with someone, with a specialist, right? Whether it's the loan officer or a realtor, and start preparing yourself in order to get to the point. It's just like setting up goals to get to the point.
Of course, just like you did when you first came to this country, right? So, yeah, you have to have a goal. You have to have a finish line set, and then be like, okay, this is kind of what I have in mind. I like to tell people as well that real estate, it happens for a reason. And just because you're buying this home today doesn't mean you're going to be in there for the rest of your life. It opens the doors for so many different opportunities. I've noticed within 5-6 years on average, most people would sell their home and buy something different depending on their family's needs, right? If they're like I have 2 kids, 19 and 20. The 20-year-old just moved out recently. So we're going, wow, our home isn't huge, but if it's just my wife and I and 2 dogs, maybe we don't need such space. Yeah, we have a full basement that we don't really utilize. So your needs definitely change with time, and then it just opens up the opportunity to maybe rent that out to a family and then buy a different property, or if you want to live in a different part of the state, depending on what your needs are, right? But it gives you a lot of different options. Having invested in that and having your property, being able to utilize that equity, or you're just so much better off not waiting.
Yeah, for sure.
And having that investment.
And statistics say that someone, if we put 2 different person, someone that has a real estate and someone that is still renting, that person that bought that real estate, whatever it is small, a little outdated, has 17 times more than who is still renting.
Is that right? 17. Wow.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wasting your money in rent and time goes by, it'd be so much harder to save, so once you find that dream home of yours,
we'll never get anything in return.
Renting. Wonderful. Okay, what are some key things a homeowner should do before listing their property? What advice would you give them?
So, first of all, I think every homeowner knows the condition of their properties, right? So, first advice, it would be giving maintenance to the property. Be sure that what works well, what it needs a little bit of love to get it fixed. Like
a little paint, a little flooring, or a curb appeal, or, I mean, there's so much.
Yeah. Another one, it would be just sit down with a real estate agent, a realtor, and see how the market is acting for you to have knowledge what type of market is. Because again, market change. Sometimes we are more towards the buyer, sometimes more towards the seller. So just doing those little things that will put you in that good position in order to sell and get the most money possible out of your property.
Are most sellers pretty open when you give them advice when you walk into a home and, hey, maybe let's remove the family pictures, or let's maybe move some stuff around or do a little painting, or are most people pretty open to it?
I will say some of them.
Yeah.
You know, we are different. Sometimes we give advice. The advice is received in a good way. Sometimes other people think different, and that's okay as well. But definitely to get the most money possible, of course, there are three things. Get the property ready and have it ready to be shown. Number two, it would be remove those things that are personal in order to the future buyer gets in there, visualize everything, how their stuff it will be looking inside the property, right? Make it their own. And number three, just price it correctly. That is key in order to have a successful sale.
So what does that look like in terms of someone has, okay, my neighbor just sold their home for XYZ and my home is equally as nice, so I want to get that same amount out of my house. So when you run comparables in your professional opinion, obviously you run all the numbers and everything, and you let them know, well, I think we should start here, but maybe you're thinking their home is worth a little bit more. How do you have that conversation with them in terms of negotiating that down a little bit? Because you know the house just might sit on the market for too long.
Yeah, correct. Definitely is one of those conversations that when you help a seller, you need to have, right? Because everything it will be around expectations. There's sellers that, like you say, will think, I think I can get this much, but listing a property, if numbers are looking very similar, listing a property starting from the highest, it's risky because everything depends on the market, right? Our advice is just price it correctly, not starting lower, not starting higher, but price it correctly to have the movement. Sometimes with sellers want to start the highest possible. Their turnout is so difficult and so different, and it's harmful for them because they don't have the results that they wish to have. Right, so there is another advice that we give is just price it correctly, because if we start from the right point, the more competition we have, better offers we have, the property will not sit in the market, and at the end, if a property sits in the market, the only one that is getting affected is the seller.
Is the seller, yeah.
Right, so that definitely that conversation with them is key. Right, and in my opinion, I think to this point we don't have to involve and go around and goes around and just go to the point. Be very honest with your clients, very direct to have those expectations have met.
Because right now, like you said, our market's always changing. I know we're a little sheltered here in Utah as a whole because we have a shortage of inventory, a lot of people moving into the state, and we have bigger families here as a whole. So it's constantly knowing the market and not trying to time it, correct? I could see that being a difficult conversation with people if they think, hey, my home, they're adamant, I'm going to sell it for this much, and you let them know, well, the home might sit on there for a little longer than what we would like, and then having those hard conversations again. What's the average home that's on the market in this current market?
Currently, it's an average of between 45 to 50 days.
Okay. Yeah, that's great information to know.
Yeah, there's occasions or situations, again, if the property is priced correctly.
Yeah. But if the home sits on the market for, say, 4 to 6 months, people looking at it might think that there's something majorly wrong with that home, right?
They tend to think, oh, something is wrong in this property. And the other thought that people have is price high.
Sure, yeah. Or what's hidden in there? Is there a foundation issue or something I should be aware of?
And definitely, if that happens, having that conversation to make a price adjustment in the property is not difficult, but the seller could take it not in that best way possible, right?
So the first thing, call Vania, have that conversation, run the numbers, all the stats, walk through the home, maybe give them your advice. Hey, whatever it is, I'm sure it's unique for each home. Mm-hmm. So that's a good place to start. Let's see here. What has been some of the most rewarding experiences as a realtor for you?
Wow.
I know you mentioned having you're self-employed basically. Mm-hmm. So you have extra time whenever you need it, but you obviously work extremely hard and make up for it. So I know you're going on a trip here out of the country here soon with your husband. That you're very excited about. So that's one thing I could think of is you work hard and you play hard, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. There are a couple of things that I take it as a reward. One of them is being my clients' faces and their happiness reflected in their faces.
That's awesome.
And telling you, thank you. Without you, this couldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Right, like I mentioned previously, each person have different goals, different reasons to get that property. So definitely that would be my first reward, just knowing that I was able to help someone that accomplished their goals through a property. Definitely another one, it will be just enjoy as well life with my husband, being able to go wherever we want to go, enjoy and all that. But in order to get to the point, first of all, we need to work hard, help people, being available for them, and then we can enjoy.
So that's probably another big benefit of having a team, correct? Because say if you're out enjoying this beautiful world with your husband and maybe you have a client or a closing or something like that, you could have a teammate step in and show that home or maybe be there for you to help.
Exactly. And in my team, we do have that culture. We work hard and then we play hard, right? So when any of us is gonna be having some time off, the other ones are willing to cover you, to help you, because that doesn't mean we let the client alone just because we want to go to have some rest or enjoy. We let them with someone that will be taking care of them like I was taking care of them. So having that support is incredible, because I feel more comfortable going to enjoy a little bit because I know someone is with my clients and someone is in charge of their situation and will be taking care of them.
That's wonderful. No, that's good, because you work hard, you play hard, and you're changing people's lives one family at a time.
Yeah.
So just trusting your team. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you've had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
These last couple of years, I'm very impressed with you, Vania.
I've been very blessed.
It's awesome. But I could tell from your work ethic, right? You just work very hard. You do what you're supposed to do. You make the phone calls. You knock the doors. You have the hard conversations. I've spoken to you a couple of times recently, and you told me that I go, hey, how was your weekend? I know that you're showing a lot of homes. You're very busy, I think. What's your record for showing homes over the weekend? So you told me a number, and I was like, wow, that's I didn't know you could look at that many homes in one day.
I think my record has been 28 homes in one day. I woke
That's crazy.
up showing properties. I went to bed showing properties, basically. Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. We had to make it. We had to find a property in that weekend for my clients because they were selling.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in terms of Utah, we have that in common where we both love the state. You have I don't want to call it an obsession, but with national parks.
Yeah.
Whenever I ask for advice, hey, I'm going to go here. Do you have any suggestions of this area? I went to southern Utah recently, and you're showing me pictures and maps, and you need to go here and check out this Lock Canyon, and you just know the state so well. It's pretty fun to chat with you about that.
Yeah, I mean, Utah is beautiful. You can find everything in this state. The only thing that we don't have is the ocean. But besides that, everything is in here. You go to north, it's so different than south, east, and west. And yeah, thanks God I've been able to have the opportunity to go explore. I started hiking alone when I came here. Alone? Yeah. And I remember I was telling my friends, do you want to go to this hike with me? And they were like, no, I would rather sleep. I was like, okay. So that didn't stop me. I was going alone. I know that was a little bit of dangerous at some point because I could find some furious animals.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm here. Nothing has happened.
You carry a big stick with you?
Now I do, yes. But yeah, I like national parks. Yes, I won't say it's an obsession, but I would like to have more time, more energy, and to be able to go to all of them in United States. That's the goal.
How many have you been to?
I've been in 32.
32?
Yes.
Wow.
Out of 63. So I'm right kind of there in the middle.
What's your top 3?
I like science. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Glacier National Park is beautiful. I had the opportunity to go in June. Glacier, science, and the other one, believe it or not, Badlands in South Dakota is beautiful.
I've heard great things about that.
You need to go see the
I've never
sunsets
been.
there.
Wow.
Yeah. There's so many, Joe, because each national park is so different. But yeah, definitely science is in my list, probably in my range of top 3.
I mean, that's straight desert, right? That's beautiful desert. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the extreme of Montana, almost by the Canadian border.
Yeah.
Did it snow on you when you went there in June?
It rained a lot.
Uh-huh.
Super, super up in the mountain, did snow.
Yeah, that's pretty, that's not unusual.
It's not
for it
unusual.
to snow.
We were like, well, it's summertime. We were expecting a lot of sunny days. Mm-hmm. From those 4 days that we spent over there, 2 of those were raining. But that didn't stop us. We still hiked.
Yeah.
Yes, we went to some lakes. We just enjoy it. I mean, how often do we go to those places, right? So we need to take advantage again and enjoy it and being present there. And the good thing, I didn't have signal.
That is a good thing. Yes. That's but you know your clients are taken care of with your teammates, and you can just disconnect. Mm-hmm. I know. I love going to southern Utah. Mm-hmm. My wife and I recently have been going to Capitol Reef and just exploring it. We take our 2 little doggies, but we're talking about just going ourselves because there's so many places you cannot go with your dogs. But it's such a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Utah's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Lastly, where can we follow you? Where do people go to find the incredible Vania?
So I have my personal platforms. I have Facebook, Vania Acevedo, Instagram, Vania Acevedo as well. Very simple. And with my team, we do also have some platforms. And Rivo Casas and Rivo Real Estate Team.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much, Vania.
Thank you.
That was incredible.
Thank you, Joe, for the invitation. My pleasure.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, if anyone's looking for an incredible realtor, you know where to find her. Please don't hesitate. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.